Let's be real, for millions of us in India, our entire day kind of runs on messaging apps. I mean, think about it. WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, they're how we chat with family, wrangle our work teams, and just stay in the loop about everything. They're not just apps anymore, they're absolutely central to how we live. Seriously, just take a second. How many times have you already peeked at one of these apps today? I bet it's a lot. More than you can probably count. It's almost a reflex, right? You just do it without even thinking. Well, you might want to brace yourself, because the way you use these apps is about to change in a pretty big way. The Indian government has just dropped a new order, and it's going to affect every single one of us. So what exactly is going on? All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is this big new rule? Well, it all comes down to one key concept, something called SIM binding. Let's break down what that actually means for you and your phone. This idea of SIM binding isn't actually brand new. If you use any secure banking or UPI apps, you're already living with it. They won't work without an active SIM in your phone, right? Well, the government is basically taking that exact same security logic and applying it to our messaging apps. The rule is super simple. No active SIM, no app. Your account will be literally chained to that little piece of plastic in your phone. And hey, don't think this is just for one or two apps. Nope. This is a huge, sweeping order that covers pretty much all the major players. We're talking about the global giants like WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal, but also homegrown favorites like ShareChat and GeoChat. Basically, if it's a popular messaging app in India, it's on this list. So this whole new regulation really has two main parts. First, there's the SIM binding for the app on your actual phone, which we've been talking about. But second, and this is a big one for a lot of people, it also targets how we use the web versions, like WhatsApp Web on a laptop. The goal for both is to make sure your account is always, and I mean always, tied directly to the phone that has your SIM card in it. So, how quickly is all of this happening? The Department of Telecommunications, or the DoT, has given all these tech companies just 90 days. That's only 3 months to completely overhaul their systems and get these new SIM binding features working for all of their users in India. The clock is definitely ticking. And for those of us who basically live on the web versions of these apps while we're working, if you use something like WhatsApp Web, you're now going to be automatically logged out every 6 hours. So yeah, say goodbye to leaving that tab open on your computer for days at a time. Every 6 hours, it's back to grabbing your phone to scan that QR code all over again. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds like a huge pain, right? So the big question is, why? Why is the government doing all this? Well, the official answer all comes down to one thing: security. Now check this out, because this really explains the loophole they're trying to plug. Before this rule, a criminal could sign up for an account, then just chuck the SIM card. They could keep using the app on Wi-Fi and poof, they're a ghost, totally untraceable. But now, the second that SIM card is inactive or removed, bam, the app just stops working. The user's identity stays locked to that original mobile number. And it's not just the government saying this. The Cellular Operators Association of India pointed this exact problem out. They basically said this flaw was like giving criminals an invisibility cloak. By ditching the SIM, they could wipe their tracks clean, making it impossible to trace their location, call records, anything. This new rule is a direct shot at fixing that exact problem. So, we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get to the part you've probably been waiting for. How is this all actually going to change the way you use your phone every single day? So let's paint a picture of what this looks like in practice. Let's say you're at work on your laptop. You're going to be rescanning that QR code for WhatsApp Web a couple of times a day, for sure. Or maybe you decide to switch your SIM to another phone for a bit. Well, the messaging apps on your first phone will just stop working instantly. And for anyone who's figured out how to use one account on 2 different phones, yeah, that's about to get a whole lot more complicated. And this all leads us to the million-dollar question, the big debate. On one side, you've got the government's security goals. On the other, you've got these changes to our daily convenience. But the real question that experts are asking is, will this new rule actually work? Will it really stop crime? And this really lays out the two sides of the coin perfectly. In one corner, you have the people who think this will be a game changer. It makes tracing users and numbers much, much easier, and it could seriously cut down on all that fraud and spam, especially since our mobile number is basically our digital passport in India. But in the other corner, you have the skeptics. They argue that determined criminals will just find a workaround, using fake documents to get new SIMs. For them, this is more of a speed bump than a brick wall. So, at the end of the day, it all boils down to this single question. A major change is coming to the apps we pretty much live on every day. The goal is to make all of us safer from fraud and cybercrime.